Has the temperatures surprised you? And what do you think the sort of, I mean, it was similar training time today for the first time kick-off, wasn't it? How do you think the conditions and the temperatures will affect your performances and the team's chances?
I think we've all played, the majority of the squad have all played in temperatures that are higher, you know. When you go on, it's almost got that pre-season feel, you know, when you play a team from abroad and you're playing in the hot time in the summer. It's got that feel, but we've all done it. We're all experienced. We've all played games abroad and in different countries and stuff, and it is going to be warm, just like in day-to-day stuff. But it's the same for everyone. Everyone's out here, so. But there's air conditioning. We've got. That was a joke about the rooms. The air conditioning's absolutely fine, and then there's air conditioning around everywhere, and it's nice to train in a bit of heat actually, to be honest, instead of the cold rain in England. So yeah, again, looking at the positives.
James, there's a lot of expectation on you, as been mentioned, and people want you when you play to come on and do something amazing. Is that a fair expectation of a player who's only had half an hour's international football 3 years ago against a team when you're already 5-0 up? Do you feel you're properly prepared for this challenge?
Well, it's quite a tough question to answer, actually. Like you said, I've only had 30 minutes of international football, but like I also said to the gentleman down there, I'm a player who has a lot of self-belief, you know, and if called upon, I believe that I am a player who can make something happen. So, and I'll continue with that confidence, because I think that all the top players, and we're around top players, you feel it. All the top players have that sense of confidence that doesn't border on arrogance, but there's a line, and you hear a lot of ex-players talk about it, and you've got to have that confidence. I wouldn't be here without that confidence. So, if called upon, I will do my best to produce that moment of magic like you talk about, and have that self-belief that I do belong at this stage, yeah.
James, hi. Henry Winter from The Times. Sorry, James over here. Gareth described you as a football student last week. I mean, are you a football obsessive? Do you watch every game? And do you have a particular player that you, not that you model yourself on, but you particularly enjoy watching?
Oh, I'm definitely a student of the game, whatever that means. I watch all the games. I watch everything. My house is football mad, you know. My girlfriend goes crazy about it because I watch, you know, in lockdown when there was 4 games a day on TV, I had them all on. But I'm a football man, and I've said that many times because I just love the game. In my head, I'm still that little boy who's kicking around in the garden, the little boy with face paint on, like you said earlier. So a student of the game is probably a way to describe it. And is there a player that... I don't think there's a player that I model myself on now, because maybe when I was younger, but I appreciate all the good players in the Premier League and always try and take stuff from players from wherever I can, whether they're at a higher level than me, the same level than me, even a lower level. Like, if I'm watching games on TV, I'm often watching players in my position. And you look at the likes of a couple of seasons ago when I actually thought to myself, how can I score more goals when I wasn't in the squad? Bruno Fernandes was playing very well for Man United and putting up ridiculous numbers in terms of goals and assists. So I'd probably watch him a little bit closer at that time. That's the first one that springs to mind, and there's lots of examples, but how can I watch him? How is he scoring so many goals, kind of thing, and what runs is he making that I'm not, kind of thing. So if stuff like that means that I'm a student of the game, then I'm a student of the game.
James, Dominic King from the Mail. Did you have any plans booked, or did you have anything booked to get away from if you weren't in the squad? Had you had a holiday, or was it just in the back of your mind that there might be a possible chance that you'd carry on? Oh
yeah, I was actually going to look to go on holiday, yeah, because obviously it's 2 completely different things, and like I said, I was preparing for both, you know. The dream and the hope was for the World Cup, but if not, then it's a mid-season break, and it's a good chance to go on holiday and recharge the batteries for the second half of the Premier League season. So I was probably just going to go on holiday and get my feet up with my son and my family, yeah. I can just remind you of a quote. This is when you were at the 21s before you in Italy 3 years ago. You said you're playing for your country, you can never take that for granted. I suppose that those words now mean even more to you, given that you're here. Yeah, exactly the same feeling, you know. The feeling of putting on that shirt, 30 minutes, like the gentleman said there, at senior level, but obviously a few times for the under-21s, and singing the national anthem, stood on the pitch pre-game, is a feeling and the goosebumps that you can't really replicate, I don't think. And that feeling is the best feeling ever, representing your country, and you should never take that for granted. And it's an honour and a privilege, and every player in the squad will tell you that. So this is no different, yeah.
Okay, we've got 5 lined up, 3 there and 2 there, and then we'll end it after that. James, Chris McKenna from the Daily Star. It's nearly 10 years since you put out a tweet about a comment a teacher said to you. When you said only 1 in a million becomes a footballer, and you said, I'm that one. Just wondering if the teacher's ever been in touch over the years and had anything to say to you since then.
No, I have never had any. A lot of people have asked me that. Have I had any contact with that teacher? No contact with that teacher, actually. It was actually my IT teacher, and a couple of people said, was that actually real, or was that just thingy? But it was my IT teacher in secondary school who, a few people pointed out, he's definitely not a math teacher, because I think the 1 in a million probably doesn't add up. It's probably a little bit less than that, but yeah, that was that same sort of attitude I talked about, that self-belief, and it kind of fits quite nicely to some of my other answers, that I've always had that self-belief, and that won't change here on the bigger stage. It didn't change then when I told him that, and it's certainly not going to change now.
James Dave Kidd from The Sun. Was there any concerns for you that maybe that whole incident with the casino thing that happened 3 years ago, was that any part of why you weren't getting picked over the last couple of years when you had been playing brilliantly? Was there ever any concern that it might have been some off-field concerns from Gareth or not, in your mind?
Oh, I thought that might get brought up, and I'm actually glad you asked. Because people forget I was actually capped by Gareth Southgate and called up after the casino incident, and it wasn't a big deal at the time for Gareth, and it got blown out of proportion, and some of it was ridiculous to what actually happened. But that's in the past. I don't want to go into the details, because we know in-house what it was, and it wasn't a big deal then. And like I said, I was actually capped after that incident. So people who often say, and I think are just maybe looking for an excuse for me why I wasn't in the squad, but I don't think that was the case.
It was never a concern for you personally?
No,
you never thought that was...
We had already spoke about it and put it to bed, and then I was called up and capped after that, so that was never a concern, and I think that was more outside noise from you lot, I think.
Hi James, Dan Kilpatrick from the Evening Standard. Just to pick up on that, Gareth described you as misunderstood last week. Do you think maybe that casino incident and perhaps other incidents have contributed to a image of you that perhaps isn't quite fair?
Misunderstood? Well, yeah, that's Gareth describing it from his point of view. I'm not 100% confident in talking about how he feels, but from your
Sure,
question,
but do you feel like you're misunderstood?
I don't think misunderstood. I think it depends how I am, so I don't really see that side of things, whereas Gareth is like a third party, might see that, or see from your side, my side, misunderstood. I think anyone who knows me and anyone within football knows the type of person I am, and how I am as a person and as a player, and I always try to carry myself with respect and very professional and stuff. So if I misunderstood, other people outside might not think that, then maybe that's what he's talking about. But I don't feel like I'm misunderstood. I mean, if we're talking about, listen, sitting here today, 25-year-old James Maddison, who's a father, would probably say to 20-year-old James Maddison, probably not the best idea to do that or to do that. But that's all part of learning, all part of experience, and that's probably why I'm thicker skinned and more experienced to sit here and talk to you now, because of little things that have happened in the past, But yeah, that's probably how best I can answer that question, I think.
And this is the last question. Thank you.
Hi, James. I'm Edson from Brazil. You said that England has been brilliant recently, reaching finals and semi-finals. What the teams got different now to the outcome be different at this point? And what would you think of facing Brazil at some point?
A lot of good players, a lot of good attacking players, aren't they? I looked at the squad list. No, but yeah, like you said, the first part of your question, it's almost been like a journey, I think, for England, and the manager, Gareth, has been in the job a long time now and done a brilliant job, and we're almost on that trajectory of from 2018 to the Euros to then now. If it stays on that, it'll be brilliant for us, because that'd mean that it goes up one more. But we know it's difficult. We know there's lots of good nations, but I think you've almost got to go into a tournament like this with the belief that you can win it, because if you don't believe that you can win it, you need to believe amongst the group that you are good enough to go and win the tournament, I think. If you have any sort of doubt, then you probably will come across a hiccup along the way, I think. But I think that belief's fully there, and we're invested, and we all want to do well for each other, for the manager, for the country, for the nation. So hopefully we can go that one step further.
Okay, everybody, thank you very much. See you tomorrow.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers.